Today, you're going to learn 50 plus advanced English expressions for job interviews so you can impress the interviewer. Of course, I'm Jennifer from gforceenglish.com, and this channel is dedicated to helping you feel confident speaking English in public so you can take your career and your life to the next level. Now, before we go any further, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. Now, let's get started with this lesson. Are you ready to add 50 plus advanced expressions to your vocabulary that you can use when you're attending a job interview in English? Let's get started with the first question that you're going to be asked. Tell me about yourself. When you're asked this question, you absolutely must use the expression, I have more than, over, or almost 10 years of experience. And then you can add as a and your job title. As a project manager, as an accountant. Don't forget that article. It's very important that it's there before your job title. Now, you can also talk about your experience in a particular field. I have almost 20 years of experience in the project management industry. I have more than 15 years of experience in the IT sector. So you can use field, industry, or sector. Now, notice you have more than or over. That's when the number is greater than. And then you have almost. That's when the number is less than. So if you actually have 13 or 14 years of experience, well, it sounds better to use a round number like 15. So you can say almost 15 years of experience if you have 13 or 14. Now, you can add to this and tell us more about your responsibilities in that role. So you can say, in this role, which is your role as a financial analyst, in this role, you could also say in that role, it doesn't matter, in that role, I was responsible for. Or you can say, I am responsible for, was if you're viewing the role as complete, and I am responsible for if you're currently doing that role. I was responsible for. Now, after this, we need a gerund verb. So you can use many different verbs to talk about your experience. These are the most common verbs you can use. In this role, I was responsible for managing, overseeing, leading, coordinating, creating, developing, reviewing, improving, streamlining, and analyzing. Of course, you can use other verbs, but these are the most common. Now, streamlining, this means improving the efficiency or effectiveness. So as a financial analyst, you could say, I have over 20 years of experience as a financial analyst in the IT industry. In this role, I'm responsible for overseeing a team of 15 people, and I'm responsible for streamlining our operations. Now, in a job interview, you absolutely want to use more academic or formal adjectives. You don't want to say, I have a lot of experience. That doesn't sound very strong or convincing. It sounds a lot more impressive if you say, I have extensive experience. I have significant experience. So those are two must-know adjectives that you should use in job interviews. Extensive and significant, which simply is a more formal way of saying a lot of. I have significant experience. And again, after this, you need a gerund verb. You can use any of the verbs I've already shared, and of course, you'll have specific verbs for your industry and your specific job title. I have extensive experience creating international marketing campaigns for a variety of industries. Now, after this expression, I have significant, extensive experience, you could also use a noun. I have significant project management experience. I have significant financial analysis experience. So you don't have to use a gerund verb, you could also use a noun. If you're asked about your education or your credentials, you can simply say, I have a Bachelor of. I have a Bachelor of Science, a Bachelor of Arts, a Bachelor of Engineering, whatever that may be. Now, you can end it there, but you may also choose to identify the school and the year you graduated. Those aren't requirements, but if you went to a prestigious or well-known school, or you recently graduated, those might be useful details to include. I have a Bachelor of Science from Cornell. I graduated in 2020. You could also use the verbs received or obtained, which are more formal than have. However, it's extremely common to use the verb have. I have a bachelor, I have a master, but you can absolutely use received or obtained to use the more formal version. I received my Master of Education from Cornell in 2020. I obtained my Master of Engineering from MIT in 2019. If your credential is a certification, you can use the verbs I received, I completed, or I obtained. I completed my PMP in 2019. Now notice here I use an acronym, PMP. If I'm applying for a job in the project management industry, they know what a PMP is. It's the most prestigious certification in the industry. It stands for Project Management Professional. So there's no need to identify an acronym if that acronym is well known in your specific industry. Let's talk about your personal strengths. The interviewer is likely going to ask you, what are your strengths? What would you say are your 3 best qualities? So here you can use a transition word. As for my strengths, that's just to introduce the point. As for my strengths, I'm extremely, and then you can list the quality. Now notice here I use the adjective extremely. This is a more convincing adjective than I'm really or very. You want to avoid those common adjectives because they don't stand out, and it's way more convincing to use a stronger adjective in a job interview like extremely. I'm extremely hardworking, which sounds stronger than I'm really hardworking. Let's review some common adjectives that you're going to use, and for all of these adjectives, you're going to use the verb to be and then list the adjective. I'm extremely hardworking, committed, trustworthy, honest, focused, methodical, proactive, a team player. For a team player, you can't use an adjective. You're simply going to say, I'm a team player. You're not going to say, I'm extremely team player. That doesn't work. I'm a team player. Now let's talk about some specific skills you should highlight in your interview. Now the following skills are rated as the top 10 skills that employers want. Of course, the skills are specific to your industry, but you can take this as a general list of skills that would be useful to highlight during the interview. And to talk about these skills, you can say, I have. And for an adjective, you can say, I have advanced, I have superior, I have excellent, and then you list the skill. I have excellent time management skills. I have superior communication skills. I have advanced adaptability skills. The other top 10 skills are problem solving, teamwork, creativity, leadership, interpersonal skills, attention to detail, and work ethic. For work ethic, we have a very specific adjective, and that's strong. I have a strong work ethic. So this is the specific expression for work ethic. I have a strong work ethic. So let's say you want to show off your communication skills. I have superior communication skills. Now let's say the interviewer wants to know why you're interested in this specific position. You could say, I'm looking for an opportunity to further or to develop my X skills. So your project management skills, your teamwork skills, your financial analysis skills, whatever the specific skill is. You could also say, I'm looking for an opportunity to gain experience in, and then you can talk about a specific field, industry, or sector. In the IT industry, in the project management field, in the marketing sector. You should absolutely have a conclusion. Don't just say, thank you for your time. You should leave them with a really strong impression of your skills and your ability to complete the job and be an asset to the organization. So you can say, I believe that, I know that, I'm confident that my extensive project management skills would make me a valuable asset to your company, your team, your organization. And I look forward to the opportunity to contribute to your goals. Of course, you should take this and adapt it to your specific industry or role, but you absolutely want a strong conclusion statement to impress the interviewer. So now you have 50 plus advanced English expressions that you can use to impress your interviewer. I want you to practice in the comments below by answering the question, tell me about yourself, and try to use as many different expressions from this lesson as you can. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about your professional background. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe. And before you go, make sure you head on over to my website, jforrestenglish.com, and download your free speaking guide. In this guide, I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. And until next time, happy studying!